Thank you, and thank you for all of your columns and your wisdom. First of all, when you look at, so what we're trying to figure out is actually if the Taliban have changed. So if this is going to be a more moderate Taliban, as they have said, or whether this is just smoke and mirrors.
Well, we should be very careful. They're saying all the right things. There was that press conference a couple of days ago, and the Taliban spokesman says we want women to be able to participate in the economy, participate in society. We will give amnesty to everyone who has worked with the previous government, and all things of that nature, that they will not harbor terrorist groups and extremist groups and make sure that Afghanistan is not used as a base to attack other countries. But they've said things like this before. They said, pretty much similar things when they first came to power in 1996. So, and their track record in parts of the country where they have been controlling for many months now and years now does not inspire optimism. In those parts of the country, women, once the Taliban took over, women were no longer allowed essentially to leave the home. Burqas were made compulsory. They were not allowed to work. Schools were closed down. So we should be very cautious. The one thing we know for absolute certain is Afghanistan is not the country that it used to be. It's not the country that the Taliban were driven out from power 20 years ago. It's a much larger country. Population is more than doubled. It's a much more urban country than it used to be, although it is still very poor. Very, very large proportions of the population now have access to technology, they have access to cell phones, and are much more connected to the rest of the world. So the old Taliban, if the Taliban hasn't changed, it may be forced to change because the country around them has done so.
Bobby, quickly, how effective can the IMF actually be in cutting off the Taliban with that? It was a lifeline, actually, that they were meant to give to Afghanistan.
Well, the IMF has said that until the international community recognizes this government, they cannot have access to the $500 million. What we don't know is whether the Taliban cares about this sort of thing, whether they really genuinely care about being part of an international economy, part of an international community. That's to be seen.